Good evening. First off, I'd like to thank the commissioners for having the meeting here in South Van Township. It's all.
Did you want to state your name and address before
Oh,
you start?
sorry, my bad. Mike Mickus. I live in Forest Ridge. It's appalling. It's appalling that the commissioners would go spend nearly $10,000 of our money. It's our money. It's the taxpayers' money for a weekend getaway at a luxury resort. It was real nice. And look, I read the minutes from last month, and Commissioner Horowitz, made a point to compare it to trips to Seven Springs that you all take. And I'm very familiar with those trips. That's the Allegheny League of Municipalities. And for the record, that is a very, very valuable thing for you to attend. And it sure as heck doesn't cost us $10,000 like it did when you all chose to go to Bedford Springs. You did everything you could to hide this from the public. You didn't want us to know that you guys were going to go to this fancy resort 2.5 hours away, take your spouses, have a nice romantic getaway. You didn't want us to know. You made sure that it was never, ever discussed in a public meeting. You made sure that it didn't make the list of 2023 meetings that you released in December. You waited to the last second to put an ad in the paper, a public notice, because you didn't want us to show up. Sure, Commissioner Horowitz said, hey, the public could have came if they wanted. 2.5 hours away. You didn't want us to see you spending thousands of dollars on food, living in the luxurious life in a fancy hotel room. You didn't want us to see it. And make no mistake, it was a vacation for you and your spouses. Because you know what? Right here is the agenda. Right here is your agenda. It ended. The meeting ended on Saturday at 3 o'clock. If the meeting ended at 3 o'clock on Saturday, why were hotel rooms paid for Friday and Saturday? Because it was a trip. It was a vacation. You felt that you earned the taxpayers' money, that you could spend it and have fun and enjoy yourself. Well, guess what? You're wrong. This is our money. And I'll tell you what, when you were elected, you took responsibility for the public trust. And you basically stepped on everything that you're supposed to do as a public official. You're supposed to look out for our money, not spend it on fancy meals. I'm sure the resort was beautiful. I've never been there. I'm sure the food was delicious. But do you really think that you are entitled to a taxpayer-funded romantic getaway? Every single commissioner that went, everybody that went on this taxpayer-funded boondoggle, which is exactly what it was, you owe every single taxpayer here in South Fayette an apology. There's simply no reason at all, that we the people, should be paying $10,000 for a meeting that could have happened in this room. You couldn't find some place in South Fayette to have this. There are no fire halls with banquet facilities. There's not a meeting room here. There are no hotels. There are no restaurants in the general vicinity where the taxpayers could show up. Of course there is. You know it, and I knew it. So when I look at this, what I see is theft. You spend our money for you and your spouses. You may not like the word theft. It may not actually meet the legal standard of theft, but it's exactly what it is. It's theft. You stole from the taxpayers. You know, I'm going to ask you all to do a few things for the taxpayers now. First thing is, you need to write checks back to the township and reimburse the township for this. We didn't ask for it, but you did it. Then the next thing you need to do, once you pay the taxpayers back, is apologize. Simply apologize. And to make this thing right, you all should resign. Shame on you.
Thank you. Any additional